mobile driver license. It's basically a digital credential that is provisioned to your device. It can be a cell phone, it could be a tablet. You can have more than one on a device. So say if you've got children or whatever it might be. It is locked down in its own compartment. What people think is that it's big government, they can see everything. That's not the case. It's not the case. That's what I thought too, and which is why I wanted to know more about it, because if that was the case, I was going to do whatever I could to keep this from, coming in. But it's not that. It's not that at all. As a matter of fact, I had completely flipped on my thoughts about it. My positivity around MDL digital ID is only around the aspect of protecting people's identity and securing it better than what's in your wallet. You walk out, you drop your wallet, guess what? Your whole life is gone.
It's true.
So with the digital ID, however, there's multiple layers to get into that. First off, most of us use a password to get into our phone. I personally like biometrics because it was easy. Typing in a code, no biggie. I have 2 or 3 layers. When we provision we don't have this in Idaho, but when a DMV provisions it, you have to authenticate that human, that individual, before you give them any information. They have to go through a series of steps that only that person knows. There are certain particular data elements that are on your card that you would have to include. And you have to pass, we'll call it the sniff test, if you will. Sure. You have to pass a test. Once the DMV has validated that this person is them and legitimately them, then they provision that license credential to that device. And it has to be updated at least once every X number of days, weeks, months, whatever the jurisdiction decides. Sure. You don't have to give your phone to law enforcement. So, and that's one of the biggest fears. People think, I'm not going to give my phone. I wouldn't give my phone to law enforcement either. But they don't work that way. You can either present a phone and read a QR code on it. It works with Bluetooth. So the officer, for officer safety, which is one of the things I think is critical, what these men and women do for us is amazing. But they can ping a device and ask for that driver license before they even leave their vehicle.
Okay, back up. Mm-hmm. So you're saying, because again, we all are aware of the horrible tragedy last year and those types of things where you're physically walking up and you have to get very, very close proximity to just get the initial credentials from somebody. So you're saying that there's the capacity within, and again, you said it's sectioned off like it's in a box. So essentially you would have like a DMV app and that information goes into that DMV app. Yes. And if you need to present it to somebody, the DMV app cannot talk or look to other parts of your phone. It's completely sectioned off within the phone ecosystem. So it can't grab your photos. It's not tracking your search history. It
doesn't track you at all. It doesn't track when you display it. Doesn't track who you share it with.
Doesn't track location.
No, it doesn't do any of that.
So the DMV app then is effectively like, I have this little piece of information and my sole job is to present this information either physically on the screen or allowed to be picked up Bluetooth by another like officer DMV app.
And the key is you as the card holder have 100% control over who you decide to give the information and what information. So another key use case that I think is amazing, my daughter, I think she's adorable. And when she goes out, to a club with her friends or something, she has to present her ID. It shows her name, shows her address, and it shows her age. With the digital IDs, they have some separate functions in them where, okay, here's my picture, and it says 18, yes, 21, yes. That's it. They don't need to see where my daughter lives. They don't need to know her name. They just need to know that she's legal to, to be in that establishment.
That's beautiful. Like and I don't mean to, you're throwing a lot of great information, but I just want to go back to the officer safety. So there is a possibility with a high risk situation, however officers deem it high risk. They're like, listen, I don't want to go up to that window, because there are strategies where you go up to the driver's side window or you go up to the passenger side window at different times, like it's a very, very risky situation when you're going up to somebody's door. But there is a capacity for an officer to literally get the requisite information in a high-risk situation without engaging in physical proximity like they normally have to. Yes. Like they could even potentially be in their car and get on the loud phone and be like, turn on your ID or something, like whatever it is. And then they pick it up on their computer.
Yes. Yes.
That's incredible.
So we don't sponsor this kind of legislation, but we needed to be we need to become experts about the technology so that we can help those that are interested in
Yeah, sure.
I think Stephanie Mickelson was interested in carrying this last year, and she did. And it almost made it through, actually. I think it died at the Senate Transportation Committee. But it passed the House Transportation, passed the House, went to the next side of the building.